Okay, once again, this is being recorded. Can you state who you are, please?
No, I already told you. Go ahead. What's your question?
This is a
You
chief.
called me. You made a message for me.
This is the chief of police, right?
I am.
Okay. My name is Justin. I don't know if you know, but I've had multiple problems a year and a half ago. Police pulled me over for a traffic incident illegally, and then aggravated the situation. Tried to give me a DUI for weed. Then that got thrown out of court, obviously, because they didn't prove anything. And then they beat me up. They put a handcuff key in my wallet to make my felony go on there, and $5,000 for my bond.
Hey, Justin, 1 second. I'm not familiar with the DUI. When did that happen?
It got thrown out. It wasn't a DUI. He said he pulled me over for not having a plate on my motorcycle, and now the story is that I was hiding the fake plate. Why would I put a fake plate on a motorcycle and then hide it? It would make no sense to do that. I'll just ride with no plate at all if it was going to do that.
Well, some people bend them up so they can't be read out. That's probably what they meant. But
no, it wasn't bent up at all.
But when was it? It was the question.
That was about a year and a half ago. And then Internal Affairs investigated, found no wrongdoing. I had a dislocated shoulder, and I was denied medical help by the police and the prison, or the jail. I know that you have nothing to do with the jail, but I was denied medical help. My 8th Amendment was violated. And I'm still through a lot of pain. My arm is still hanging about 1.5 inches out of socket and needs surgery. They've done nothing about it. Then I called, Blair Houston called because some jet skis were down here breaking the law and drunk. We tried to call the police. The police came down, lectured Blair about an incident that happened between him and the police 2 weeks before. I pulled out my phone just to record it. That officer, or that sergeant, and there's like 9 cops at the end of it, for us calling them wouldn't help us, and then tried to turn the tables and stayed there for about an hour until we left in a car. And then, because I wouldn't give up my ID. Of course I don't give up my ID. I get beat up by the police. You know, I don't want you guys to find out who I am and do it again. I'm scared of you guys, obviously. And so they proceeded to follow us to the speedway once we left and got it for hazards, and still tried to violate my 4th Amendment right a whole bunch of times after that. And the sergeant even tried to bribe Blair by saying if he gives him my name, that he has discretion and he can write him up with a warning. That's bribery.
Bribe, did he ask for money, or just
ask for my name?
And then he would basically utilize the discretion. Is that what you mean?
He asked for my name. If Blair gave him my name,
money though, right, or any
that's still bribery. It doesn't have to be monetary gain. You just have to.
I didn't ask you if you did. I'm just asking you to clarify.
No, that's bribery on its own. If you got something over somebody's head, that's bribery and coercion. You know. So after that happened, what else happened? Then after that, I got Blair's boat came unhooked on a storm. And it hit some docks over here, and he tied up to it until the storm went down, so it wouldn't cause any damage. The officer came, told us we can't be there. We had to leave. Blair tried to comply, and the wind picked up, and because the officer told us that we had to leave, caused damage to them houses and them properties over there, because the wind picked up. And we were technically legally allowed to stay there for the meantime in the duration of that storm, by law. Then they decided they want my ID again. I don't give my 4th Amendment up anymore. Just because you guys look on my record and then want to fuck with me. I don't like that. I don't want nothing to do with it. I have a 4th Amendment right. So they decided to, for about an hour and a half, follow me around until another officer on another island stopped me. And then basically I told him to quit following me. And then he called and basically said he couldn't do nothing. He's going to let me go. And then the original officer that told us we had to leave off the dock said that I was a suspect in stealing a t-shirt 2 weeks before. Now, after 2 hours being in their face, he couldn't come up with that until 2 hours later. They wanted my name that bad, okay? Because that officer was also the one with Hodgkinson for the incident before this, okay? And he wanted my name, thinks I had a warrant. I have a 4th Amendment right, and I don't want these cops to have my name because I'm scared of them.
Doesn't sound like they don't know who you are anyway, correct?
They know who I am.
Right, okay.
They want to go out, they just want to make a point, you know?
Sounds like you're doing the same too. That you don't want to give the ID to make a point when they probably.
Well, that's my 4th Amendment. Is that? Well, listen.
You're scared of them, but they already know you. So we're all doing this circle jerk over something really stupid.
So it's a circle. My 4th Amendment. It's a circle jerk.
No, you support the amendment as a circle jerk, but asking for your ID if there's a reasonable suspicion that a crime is being committed.
There is no reasonable suspicion of a crime. I wasn't on that boat. He called him over here. What do you mean? There was no crime.
I don't agree with it, but I just understand it. Go ahead.
What agreement? What law was being broken?
Which particular time are we talking about right now? You're going through this litany of charges or litany of contacts.
Well, let me go over everything first and all the incidents, and then I'll get into it. And so about on the 27th of last month, I was at North Island Way Bar and Grill, okay? And 6 months before that, no, let me start over. So I'm at the North Island Bar and Grill, and I pull out a Delta 8 pipe that I bought brand new, never smoked out of, and she was showing somebody do it on the sidewalk there that was drinking at the bar. I wasn't. Okay, now I had a beer earlier that day. No, that was just a different time, sorry. Let me slow down a second, because I'm a little hyper. I relive all these things, and, I had a lot of trauma. So, I'm showing my friend this pipe, and the bar manager tells me I can't have that there. I said, I'm on a public sidewalk. I'm not doing anything wrong. This is legal. I bought it at the store right down the street. She didn't like it, and she tried barring me. I said, I'm not leaving a public sidewalk. I'm sorry. So she called the police on me. The officer escorted me off the sidewalk. That's my Fourth Amendment right. He took away right there, and he tried to ID me also. He didn't get an ID. Knows I wasn't breaking the law, but still escorted me off the sidewalk. Okay? Public sidewalk. Then about a month later, I want to say, another officer, I was there talking to a friend in front of the sidewalk that was drinking at the bar, and I was talking to him for a few minutes. They said that the police were called. A friend came out. They didn't even tell me the police were called. The friend came out, told me the police were called. I left, called the police. I said, we got to get this handled because I've already called sergeants, lieutenants, and everything else on it, and they agreed that I wasn't trespassing. Okay? So I couldn't be trespassed off a public sidewalk and knew it. So she called the cops. I left, called the police, wanted to handle it. Then I was told to go back by dispatch. When the officer showed up, he didn't want to hear my story, went and talked directly to them, came out and tried to bully me, told me to get off the sidewalk right away. I said, wait a second, I was told to come back here, but never mind, get your sergeant. Get your sergeant, get your sergeant, get your sergeant. Sergeant gets there, I said, I was told to come back here. He's not going to bully me out of my Fourth Amendment right, for standing on a public sidewalk. We need to get this straight. So he started calming things down after he's a supervisor and found out he was in the wrong by trying to bully me. And
right, just so I can clarify, while you're going here, I'm going to need to clarify a couple things. So you're in front of the bar location that has a public sidewalk. Must have like one of we're talking about the ones on
the
North
patio,
Island,
yeah, the sidewalk patio bars.
Like a bar that sits along the sidewalk?
Yes, exactly, sir.
Okay, and so you're on the public sidewalk, but you're not drinking at the bar, but you're out there and you're socializing with a friend?
Yes.
Okay.
And that, like I said, I left. Called the police. They told me the dispatch tells me to come back. The cop tries to bully me at first, but then as soon as the sergeant's there, I said, before she got there, I said, let's just start this all over. You didn't have to come here and bully me. And he seemed like genuinely a nice guy, actually, but he still tried to take my Fourth Amendment rights from me. And then we talked about it. He said, Justin, just stay away here for like 30 days. You're barred, and just stay away. If you like the bar, you come back. Just don't come back when she's here. I was like, all right, you're right, okay. So I leave town for a couple months because I live in Pennsylvania also. I travel between here and a couple other states also. And I come down after 2 months of being away. So 3 months it's been about since I even had any type of other altercation with that bar or anything. And it was only supposed to be a 30-day ban. So I was drinking there and eating there for about 3 weeks. Or no, 2 weeks. 2 weeks after I came back, I've been drinking and eating there. But just not when she's there. But there was a girl over there that comes into town because her dad owns an Airbnb up the street, and I wanted to talk to her. I'm not barred, so I rolled my scooter and I put the kickstand down, and I'm like, hey, the bouncer looks at me and says, Justin, you're barred for life. I said, okay, whatever. I kicked up my kickstand. I said, just don't try to bar me from that sidewalk. We're cool. 2 hours, about a half hour or so, I come back or something, I want to say, and it was about a couch that me and my buddy down the street were selling to this other girl, and we were delivering it. So she had to come back and give me notice. I was standing on the streets by the street sign out there waiting for her. The bar manager comes out, tells me, Justin, I know you're trying to be cute and you're just being a fucking asshole. She starts swearing at me, escalating things. And then I told her, this is the people's sidewalk. I pay taxes like you do. She's like, you don't pay any fucking taxes, and started belittling me. So then I belittled her back because I had enough. So her husband didn't like it, come out, shoves me on video, the surveillance tapes.
Right, okay.
Shoves me off the sidewalk, swings about 4 or 5 times, And then I went to shoot for the legs because he's a bigger guy. He's like 6'4", 6'5", works out. He looks like the Hulk, you know, literally what Hulk looks like now, you know. And he picks me up and he slams me on the ground. And by the time I hit the ground, I already put him in a guillotine because I have plenty of training in my life. I have no violence on my record whatsoever, but I have been trained to fight by King Cobra Karate, okay, and all my dads and my uncles and everything. So I know what I'm doing there. So I asked him if he has enough. He had enough. I got up, and then a patron started choking me and dragged me across the street. I hip tossed him, and I looked at him. I said, "What?" And I was about to punch him. I said, "What are you doing?" I said, "You're not security. You're not a cop. You're not anything. Why are you involved? You don't even know the story." And the guy was drunk, and he put his hand through his hair, and he apologized, and he said, "You know, I'll stick around and say what I did." You know, I said, "I'm taking off out of here. I'm hurt. I'm amped up. I just want to get out of here right now." And I left. Called the police.
So you left that night?
They left that night. Okay. Called the police when I left, but they wanted me to meet with them. Now I have a very bad adrenaline problem and fight or flight complex. Okay, so I know this, and my voice amplifies, makes it sound like I'm yelling, and then when I get irritated, you know, I talk really fast, and people can't understand me, and that type of stuff goes on. So I wanted to calm down. So the next day I called the police. Before I go to the hospital, I said, "I'm about to go to the hospital, call dispatch, but I need to report this," you know. So they told me to meet them over at right next to the bar there in Speedway. 2 cops show up, and they say, "Joe, why didn't you call second shift?" And they start giving me a lecture about how I'm being petty and this and that. And I keep on telling them that's subjective. Can we stick to the facts? And then they kept on saying stuff. I said, "Is that lawful?" And over and over, they're trying to give me a lecture and telling me what to do. And then they tell me they're not even going to make a report. They're going to leave. They just left without making a report. So then I called back to dispatch, obviously, because I know that's against the law for them to not take a report. So dispatch sends out Corporal Campbell. But before that, the cops show up. They're like, "Justin, what do you want us to do?" I said, "Well, I'm not a cop. I'm not a lawyer. But I've got the cop. I've got the owner's number. Call him. Get the video evidence. That'll show that he assaulted me. Then you go and you interview my witnesses." I tried to give them witnesses. They wouldn't take down none of my witnesses. Didn't interview none of my witnesses. And then you go talk to the opposing party, which they only called by phone. They didn't show up at a house to find out what his demeanor was, see if he's lying, all this other stuff. They called him by phone twice. Even so, they charged him. They only put in a report to the district attorney that it's simple assault and didn't arrest him. Then I went to the hospital that day. I called the corporal. Corporal says, "You know, if I told him I got 3 broken ribs, a herniated stomach, and a broken elbow that's half casted," and he's like, "Okay, well that's a felony charge now. We can pick him up. Meet me the next day." So the next day I meet him in Speedway, give him the report, and he says he's going to go pick him up. He lied. He didn't go pick him up, and he never picked him up. And I called him back like a couple days later. He said, "Did you pick him up?" He said, "Yes." That was only to stall me out so I couldn't make any complaints, and you could hand it over to the district attorney. So they stalled me out on that one, okay, with lies. And I've got that all on video too. So then I call the commander, Dean, and Commander Dean tells me that the case is closed. So I would flip out and go to the district attorney and flip out on them, like, you know, and that's what that plan was. You know.
That was Dean's plan?
Yeah, that was definitely his plan.
He told you that, or that's your?
He said that he spoke to the district attorney and he said that the case was closed. Then I got that on video. Then I got it on video of him saying
he spoke to the state attorney and the state attorney said it was closed.
Yeah, and he lied.
That's what he said.
And then he said again, he tried covering his tracks on another conversation I got recorded, that he didn't speak to any district attorney. He spoke to either Corporal Campbell or the arresting or the officer that took the report, and they said that it was closed, which is also a lie because it's not closed. It's still an open case.
What do you want done on that case? Is that what this is about?
I want that guy arrested. Okay, I want that report.
Right now, it's pending that. I mean, it's being reviewed by the state attorney. I think they're waiting to talk to you. Have you talked to them yet?
I've already talked to them.
Okay, and they'll contact
but listen,
us and they'll file an information.
What I want is that
they choose to.
Okay, out of all the things that are happening, it's all one big thing. Okay, it's them against me. Every single time. Every time I asked for help, I went in there and asked for my police report. They wouldn't give it to me at first, and I have a legal right to that.
Cover page only at this point. It's still an active case pending prosecution.
Okay, but that means I could still have it, as all they have to do is go get somebody to close out like they did. They didn't explain that. They basically said they wanted me to listen. They wanted me to turn around and leave without that report. I still left that day with that report, and there's a reason why that was.
Did it?
Yes,
Did you get the full report?
and there's a reason why they
get the cover page.
Yes, And there's a reason why that they didn't want to give me that report, because it doesn't have any of my comments in there or my statements. None of my statements are in there.
You're not going to get any of your statements at this point.
No, I'm talking the police report. With the one
right. You're not going to get it. I can see the police report. Your statement is in there, but it's not going to be given to you at this time.
I already got it. I got my statements and everything on there. Like.
Well, then what? You just said you didn't get it.
I got the report. My statements that I gave the officer are not within that report.
Okay. Did you get a copy of the report that shows your statement, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. So you just saying a second ago you didn't get it. Do you got them or not?
I have my police report, okay? When I read it, okay, let's start over. When I went to meet with him, all the things that I told him are not on that report.
Well, what you described to me is in here as I read your statement and what you just told me. It's in here pretty much the exact same statement.
He swung 5 times on me. Is that in there?
Well, that part may not be in there. I'd have to skim down here and look.
That the bartender and the bouncer were drinking. Yes. The bartender and the bouncer were drinking. Took a shot with that patron that choked me 10 minutes before that. Is that in there?
I'm not sure what part.
No,
I have to see what you'd have. But either way, explain it to the state attorney when they talk to you on the phone. Did you give it to him?
They already talked to me. I called him back a couple times.
There's a whole reason that the state attorney does what they call this conversation. So they take your direct testimony as well. And so anything you gave them that was an additional report, they'll make note of, and it'll be included.
As a felony, this is an arrestable offense by the police, correct?
It can be.
Why didn't they? Because their discretion?
Yes.
They didn't like that I told them how to do their job when they came and didn't want to take a police report because of who I am. Then I made them do their job. Now they weren't happy about it, so they wrote a slanderous report that I begged for money, that I begged for beer.
I don't think they said that. I think there may be a statement or something from somebody else that may have said you do that, but that's their statement.
But going to find out for a lawyer, writing something like and not putting my statements in there, making them exactly look bad for what they've done.
I think you said you read it. It pretty much lays out that you were attacked, and so I don't know what more you expected to really need to say. There's a couple extra details that didn't get copied that night. Surely everything you said is on the body cam video when the officers were taking your statement in the first place. So it's already there. So
tell me why. So tell me why the officers didn't arrest the guy that committed a felony and severe bodily injury against another.
I think you have a little bit of a credibility issue that you're always popping up on the radar as being antagonistic, and as you said, you have this issue of anxiety and your voice raising to the point that sometimes.
But I explain these to those officers, and your officers should be trained. Your officers should be trained.
There's also the part of this particular case is you're at a location that clearly they don't want you in the location. So really you're standing outside on the public.
Which they escalated it. They escalated it. Everything. Listen.
That needs to be reviewed by the state attorney to kind of figure out.
I've got the FBI on this case already. The FBI had a lot of questions about the first case.
Over people while they're trying to explain and answer your questions probably not really either helpful as well. But so I think the officer made a prudent act. He presented all this information to the state attorney. The state attorney had the opportunity to talk to you. He'll make a decision on whether or not he feels the case has enough evidence or warrants prosecution. That's what they'll do.
Okay, so what are you going to do about the internal affairs investigator that blew up in front of my face on video, stepped towards me to try to intimidate me, put his finger in my face?
You were going to send me the video, and if I get the video, I look at it, and I think it's inappropriate, I'll take action. You want to send the video over, send it over.
And you're not going to do anything about these officers trying to take my Fourth Amendment right, removing my arm from my body.
Removing your arm from your body? You're talking about the previous incident?
Dislocation.
About the other stuff, about the motorcycle?
Yeah, the dislocation of the arm.
Okay. Did you end up pleading guilty and getting convicted on those charges?
That doesn't matter. A traffic incident doesn't require dislocation of an arm.
I didn't say it did. I'm trying to figure out what was the disposition of all
that. What would that matter?
Because if you were, resisting when they were trying to do their job, it could be a matter of fact.
Resisting without violence requires dislocation of an arm. Do you know what kind of force it takes to dislocate an arm? A car accident or falling off a roof or out of a plane or something.
Well, so why wouldn't I suggest this? You have anxiety. You don't trust us. You hate us. I get it. Okay.
No, I don't hate police. I hate bad policing.
Okay.
I hate when they escalate things to a person that obviously has a little bit of mental problems with fight or flight.
You do this whole screaming, talking over, thinking people, and I'm more than willing to try to help you. I think that's been reviewed, that incident, we disagree with your assessment that it was excessive force.
Explain.
Get yourself a lawyer.
Explain me. No, explain to me how it's right to have a dislocated arm with no resistance or violence.
Justin, that's been reviewed. We disagree with
Yeah, you investigated yourself just like you can't.
Listen,
you investigated yourself.
There are remedies available. Justin.
Yeah, there's remedies. What I'm going to do is start making YouTube videos.
Justin.
And I'm going to send them to all the First Amendment. You might want to listen to this.
Justin, you're talking over me and you're yelling.
No, I'm not. The same thing happened with your investigator. I ain't talking over you. You just keep talking. I'm the one with the complaint. You should more listen than talk. You'll learn something.
You're yelling, Justin.
You'll learn something if you talk. If you just listen.
Is this being recorded showing you screaming on top of me?
Yes, because I'm very irritated and I got an adrenaline and I'm very traumatic. Your police officer just stepped in front of my face.
Take a deep breath while I talk, and then you can calm down and you can have a conversation. I'm trying to explain to you that you may disagree with our finding, and that's okay. There are other remedies available to you in civil court to basically make an excessive force or a claim against the city or the police department.
Yeah, the FBI is now handling it, then the mayor. I know all these. I know my remedies, and I'm going step by step. And that's why I'm talking to you today, to show that you're not going to do anything either.
Justin, let's just settle it with a judge, a neutral party, and let the lawyers work it out and discuss it.
And I'm making a trail, and you're part of that trail. And next one's the mayor.
Justin, you can do whatever trail you want. The remedy is still the remedy. The remedy is for...
Then the remedy is YouTube to every First Amendment auditor. I'm going to get First Amendment auditors down there. They're going to be in your front door, bud.
You talk about being bullied, and you were trying to bully me to do...
I'm not bullying you. I'm telling you what my remedies are. That's my remedies. I ain't bullying you. Them are my remedies.
Calm down.
Them are my remedies, not bullying. You see, how am I bullying anybody by trying to tell you my remedies?
De-escalate the situation here. You are getting way out of hand.
No, you just tried to say I'm bullying you. I'm trying to bully you. You're the bully.
You're screaming. I'm not bullying you. I'm trying to explain to you a very reasonable remedy where you can have a neutral party. You obviously disagree with me. Feel free to go ahead and get yourself a lawyer and go ahead and seek a civil...
Oh, I already know how to file the 1983. I've already done it before. Pennsylvania.
Well,
I'm very well versed in it.
So you want what? The officer fired?
Yes.
What it is? Or
absolutely.
Money for your injury? What are you asking for?
Money for my injury, money for the surgery, money for the fucking bills. Yes. And I want him fired. Because nobody should be on your police force that remove it.
That is a civil process. You're going to need to seek those remedies through a civil court.
Okay, but I also want him fired.
Okay, who was the officer?
I can't remember.
You're talking about the incident that was a long time ago. Like a year and a half ago, right?
Yeah, it was a sergeant. He wasn't even on the case. That was none of his people below him that he was there. He removed me from the car and room of my arm.
Justin, who was the officer? I don't remember.
I can't remember either right now. I don't have any of the paperwork in front of me. Right now, I'm extremely agitated and my adrenaline's going.
The DUI charge, is that what it was, you said?
They pulled me over for having no plate, supposedly, but then he said I was hiding the plate. I was on a motorcycle.
This is the motorcycle. Did you plead guilty to that charge? I'm just looking.
I had to, because when Blair came over, they tried to get my ID, and they said they put a charge on me when I was on bond, saying that I was disrupting their investigation for a stolen T-shirt that I had nothing to do with. So they took away my bond because
Calm down. I'm going to look it up.
Because I tried to make I was sat in jail for 4 months for that freaking case, and when I wanted to fight it, but when I showed up for it, I said, "When's the law library open?" She's like, "I don't know, maybe a couple years when COVID's over." And then I said, "I like to represent myself." The judge didn't like that because at a precedent case, they knew they would have to throw it out. Instead, they used this when your police officers violated my Fourth Amendment right for not giving them an ID, and then he took it from me anyways and tried to, in 2 hours in their face, finally come up with some shit.
For a lawful traffic stop.
That's not a traffic stop. It's on a boat.
Are you talking, a boat accident? You're talking about the boat accident?
Yeah.
You guys bumped into the...
I wasn't even a passenger when that shit happened. I got under to help, and that's it.
You were the one that was on the boat when it ran into the dock.
Yeah, when all the mayor's buddies got involved in it. All the mayor's buddies got involved in it. Remember that?
Yeah, and what happened with that one? Did you end up, what? Did that one get thrown out?
I got put in jail. They took my bond away from me for that. I went to the shittiest place on earth here because your officers illegally charged me with obstruction of investigation by not giving my name. I didn't commit a crime. I don't have to give an ID, correct? If I don't commit a crime, I don't have to get an ID, correct?
No, there are certain circumstances where we may believe a crime has been committed, and we would be able to...
Explain that crime to me. That's what I tried to tell them. Explain that crime to me, what I did.
Justin, calm down. calm down, man. I can see why you end up having a lot of problems because you end up just getting in this tirade. My goodness, calm down. Now, you're saying that during the case with the boat, that was what ended up happening to that? You said it was.
I pled guilty to that because I planned on leaving town. I didn't want to deal with it no more.
Go to court?
I just got out of jail. I was extremely depressed. I was thinking about killing myself because of all that, and I didn't want to deal with it. So I just pled guilty, and then he charged me $500 for it too, which wasn't even in the plea.
All right. So the illegal arrest you're talking about, you pled guilty to.
I had to.
Okay. Obviously, that's not going to put me in a position to say that the charge was unlawful.
Let's look at what happened. Let's not go by the charge. Let's look at what happened.
All right, Justin.
The series of events.
Sure. We're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah, I'll never get anywhere with your police station. I've never gotten anywhere. I'm not even trying to get my records or anything. You guys are covering things up. I get lied to keep me quiet, to get it in the district attorney's hands on this last case.
I've had about a 30-minute conversation with you, all recorded. What am I trying to hide by having that conversation with? I've been speaking very frankly and honestly with you. I tried to hide.
The only reason you called back is I said I'm scared for my life, and which I was. And the last person I went to was your internal affairs, which stepped over the line today.
Last time you called and yelled at my staff, I called you back that time too.
No, you never called me back.
Yeah, I did. I called you back once, and I called Blair a couple times too.
You never called me back. I swear on my life, you never called me ever.
Yeah, maybe I left a message for you, but I called you back once. I do remember because
now it's a message. You spoke. Now you can't remember if it's a message or you spoke to me. You would perfectly remind yourself. You would either know that you had a conversation or left a message. Because if you had a conversation with me, you're gonna remember it.
Well, I think I'm probably blending you and Blair and Blair's girlfriend all together.
Blair sounds like a chipmunk.
I didn't talk to you. Because I think Blair was with you on that incident you're talking about.
Yes, exactly. Blair was on this incident, and then he got him and banged him too.
And then the girlfriend came. She called and she said that she heard the whole thing, but she was downstairs and never came out. So I remember talking to a bunch of people about that, but I guess it wasn't you. So I apologize. My mistake. Am I allowed to make a mistake?
Yes, you are, and you're the first one to admit it. Nobody else is. They cosplay it away. Try to.
Justin, I'll be honest with you. The reason that you're kind of you're very volatile, angry, and you get very excited, and that's not going to want people to really kind of work to try to help you. You turn people off that way, and you look like the problem when you act like that. I think is the issue.
Okay.
Certainly being outside this bar, just standing there talking to people that are in the bar just for the purpose of doing it. Obviously that's something I think the state attorney needs to know and they need to evaluate, because when you sit on the stand as a victim, a good defense attorney for this other party is going to bring that up, and they're gonna use it against you to try to discredit your statement or to make you look like the antagonist. And I think that that's an appropriate thing for us to make sure the state attorney is aware of and that they evaluate before we take somebody's freedom away. So that's what we did. I don't know what more to tell you on that case.
So you're saying my First Amendment?
No decision.
Here, can I talk? I let you talk for a while. Can I please talk? I just want to talk. So you're saying my First Amendment can get my Fourth Amendment taken away, my Fifth Amendment right taken away, my Eighth Amendment taken away, my 14th Amendment taken away?
I don't see if any of those were taken away. You were allowed.
You just told me the reason why this is happening. Nobody's helping me. Are you a Scientologist, bro? Answer that. Are you a Scientologist?
No.
You're not, because you're acting like one. You're giving me a lecture. That's not your job, is it?
When you're actually not making sense and we're trying to have a conversation so we can get to a mutual understanding, yes, it is my job to try to have a conversation. Well, why would you say that to me? You're
lecturing me. You're telling me that the way I talk to people
you're trying to lecture me. I think we're trying to lecture each other. So I think whatever the point of that is
I'm not lecturing you. I'm trying to find out what's going on, what you're going to do about this. And you're telling me you're going to do nothing about this.
You haven't said anything that sounds actionable to me at all, except for a bunch of excitable banter. Now listen.
Now you got my number. Leave your email address, and I'll leave you the link when everything's done. I get all the body cameras, all my evidence, and I explain everything without yelling, okay, to people on YouTube. And then maybe you'll get it through your head when a million people call your phone.
Justin, see, when you say the First Amendment was violated, are you talking about this?
No, I'm saying my First Amendment that I use. You're saying whether no, because I didn't say anything over there. I just stood there. That's my Fourth Amendment right that got taken there. Because I didn't say anything.
Okay, so because right now, I'm letting you yell and scream for about 30 minutes, so I don't know if I'm silencing your free speech.
I'm not saying you're silencing. You're saying the way I talk the way I act, the way I express myself is the reasons why people aren't helping me. That's legal.
I don't think it's illegal. I think the point is if you...
No, it's legal. What I'm saying is legal for me to use my First Amendment right. And then you guys use your discretion. You just said it. You use your discretion to not help me. You said it.
That's not what I said.
Exactly. It's on video. It's exactly what you said.
Not exactly what I said.
Exactly what you said. You're saying because I'm so volatile, I use my First Amendment, that you're going to let the district attorney know that I'm a volatile person that uses his First Amendment, and that's why they need to know that before they take somebody's freedom. You have video of somebody putting your hands on me!
Justin, you have your right to free speech. The point is when you scream and yell, nobody's silencing your free speech, but that speech is used to evaluate whether or not you are part of the problem.
I'm not. He put his hands on me, right? No matter what I said, besides I didn't threaten him, and he puts his hands on me. You have video of it.
If you're doing what you're doing right now and you're walking down a sidewalk doing that, then certainly that is...
I'm not doing none of that. Where's the evidence?
You're doing it right now on the phone with me.
Okay, well, you're pissing me off over and over, bro, telling me that the way...
So every time you get pissed off, you are allowed to basically act disorderly and scream and yell.
No, I haven't done none of that. Is that on any of them reports? No. So let's leave that now. I'm talking to you. You don't have no evidence of that ever happening anywhere.
Before we go to number 4.
You don't have evidence of any of that ever happening.
I'm not saying you're trying to explain to you how your language and your attitude can be a part. You asked me about...
Explain how your internal affairs started yelling at me, pointing fingers in my face, and stepping towards me.
In the whole 30 minutes, you're the only one that's yelled at me. I haven't yelled at you once.
I didn't even yell at him in your hallway. That's why I got everything on video. Now I'm doing the same thing to you on the phone, and then when I talk to people in person, I get it. You guys see the video and the camera, and that makes you...
I'm being very patient with you. This case is pending, so I don't know I don't know why you're angry. You're feeling that nothing was done. The case has been presented to the state.
You guys didn't arrest him. Your police showed up and didn't even want to take a report. Okay, the police showed up, didn't even want to take a report, they left.
But the report has been taken.
Oh, I made him! Oh, that's funny, huh? A civilian had to make your police do their job. You're gonna laugh about that? That's funny.
Justin.
That's funny? Answer the question! Is it funny? It's funny because you're laughing like it's funny.
Justin, you're being just a very offensive, argumentative, rude person. Do you want to talk about and try to resolve it, or do you just want to scream about it?
What are you going to do about these officers not coming to show up? What are you going to do about your internal investigator's office? What are you going to do about my arm being dislocated? What are you going to do about the Fourth Amendment right being taken away and then my bond being taken away?
I am not going to do anything about the bond being taken away. I'm not going to do, because I didn't take your bond away. I'm not going to do anything about...
The officers charged me with obstruction when they couldn't! There was no crime, dude! No crime! No crime!
I'm not going to do anything about stuff that you've already pled guilty to. And I am not going to, feel that the officers, they took the report, the case is pending, the evidence has been collected. You'll have your opportunity to make your statement and include all of it. You have to do it in person. A police report doesn't go to court. It ends up being you that has to sit on the stand and swear under oath and say this happened. So all of the details that you don't see in the report, you have an opportunity to tell a jury if it gets that far. So it's moving forward.
Enjoy the phone calls from YouTube, bro.
So, do you have anything else we need to discuss?
Nope. Enjoy your calls from YouTube. Enjoy the civil suit.
Okay.
Sign your name on a dotted line just now. You just signed your line on. You just signed your name on a dotted line for a civil suit. So yeah, we're done.
All right. Good. Sounds great, man. Merry Christmas.
Did you hear that? He used my First Amendment to say that's why people aren't helping me.